Hey everyone, Nariman here, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about prompt engineering. I will show you a couple of fundamental techniques to write effective prompts, and these techniques will help you to get the best answer out of the LLM models. This tutorial is not necessary for programmers, we are not going to code. Anyone who is interested to work with AI and wants to get the best answer out of LLM models can use these techniques. I'm going to use ChatGPT, but these techniques are for any LLM model. So you can use it with Claude, you can use it with Gemini, you can use it with Ollama's local models. There won't be much difference. So the first and most important thing to notice is that LLM models are probabilistic models. They are generating the output to your prompt word by word. So each word is generated only because it had the highest probability to come after the previous word. So when LLM wants to generate your answer, there are many possibilities. What you need to do with your prompt is to limit those possibilities. Somehow condition it by giving it the right context. So our first rule is context is key. I will give you an example. Let's say we want to ask our LLM model, give me a paragraph on Barcelona. So my guess is this will probably give me a paragraph about the city of Barcelona, which is in Spain. Let's see the response. Yeah, that's right. So the paragraph is about the city of Barcelona, as I expected. But what if I wanted the paragraph to be about the Barcelona Football Club? LLM couldn't guess that because when we are referring to Barcelona, it can have many meanings. So it just picked up the one with the most probability. So if I want to get a paragraph about Barcelona Football Club, I can add something like Barcelona FC or Barcelona Football Club, and then I can get a paragraph about the football team. And again, what if by referring to Barcelona FC, I wanted the paragraph to be about Barcelona's women football team? LLM couldn't guess it. It just gave me the one with the highest probability, which is the Barcelona's men football team. So you need to be as specific as you can be to get the desired output. This is a very basic technique that you should stick to it. The next technique would be to give the LLM a role or a responsibility. With this, you can affect the content that is being generated by the LLM, or the style or the tone. So somehow you are setting the scene first, and then you are asking what you want from the LLM. So for example, how we can give a role or responsibility, we can say you are an agent that is expert on stock analysis. So in just one line, I'm giving it a role or responsibility, and then I will ask my question. You should analyze the Apple stock and say if it is a buy or a sell. And then you will ask this question. Of course, it will search the web for the opinion of other analysts, the financial information of Apple, and then it will give you some information. It's saying, okay, these are the risks and challenges, these are the opportunities, these are the technical indicators, and then based on that says that right now Apple stock is a buy. So what I did was I gave the LLM a personality, a role, a responsibility. Of course, when you are writing your own prompt, you need to describe a little bit more, maybe write a few lines for what is exactly the role, especially if it's a system prompt, for example, for an AI agent. And then you can ask what you want, and hopefully with this technique you will get a better answer. The next technique, and maybe one of the most useful ones, is the n-shot prompting technique. You can divide n-shot prompting into 3 categories. First one is zero-shot prompting. So what you are usually doing when you are interacting with LLMs on daily basis, you can call it zero-shot prompting, because you are just asking LLM to do something without providing any examples. This is exactly what zero-shot prompting is. For example, you are gonna ask your LLM that, I don't know, classify this text based on the sentiment, like, I don't know, I hate running, for example, something like that. And then I'm gonna say answer with negative, positive, or neutral. So this is a classic sentiment analysis task, and we didn't provide any example. We are just asking the LLM to do it. So that will be zero-shot prompting, and it successfully categorized it as negative. If I'm gonna do the same but as one-shot prompting, I'm gonna say example, there is sentence, I love food, and the sentiment is positive. And then I'm gonna say now classify this text based on the sentiment, I hate running, and answer it with negative, positive, or neutral. So let's send that. So this is exactly one-shot prompting, because I provided exactly one example and then asked the LLM to do the task based on the example and guidance that I provided before. And then after that, of course, we have n-shot prompting, anything more than one. So if you provide 2 examples, 3 examples, this is going to be n-shot prompting. For example, I can do like 2 more to have 3. I'm gonna say, yeah, I love food, I hate, for example, rain would be negative, and then maybe, yeah, the food was okay, can be neutral. So I provided 3 examples, one for positive, one for negative, and one for neutral. And then I asked the LLM to classify I hate running with the correct sentiment. So the question is when to use each of these techniques. You can use zero-shot prompting for simpler tasks that LLM can easily do it. One-shot prompting for things that are a bit more complicated and you need to show a little bit how it should be done. And then for more complex tasks, you can do n-shot prompting, and they say usually the good amount of examples is between 3 to 5. So for example, if something needs reasoning and you need to provide multiple examples for the LLM to pick it up, something like 3 to 5 examples should be okay. And the next technique is called step back prompting. In a step back prompting, we are somehow dividing the prompt. As the name suggests, we are taking a step back. We are dividing our prompt into 2 levels. The first one would be the abstraction step, where we ask a higher level question. So we are again somehow setting the scene. And then based on the first question, we are asking the more detailed question, which is what we actually wanted. So we are just rewriting the question first into a more general question, and then we will go into the details. For example, if I'm gonna ask, what is the sum of even numbers between 1 to 10, I'm gonna first extract a more general question out of it. So I'm gonna say, what is, or let's say, what are the even numbers between 1 to 10? So first I'm asking, find these numbers. Find them, and then add them together. So why is this better? Because we are first setting the scene, we are narrowing it down, then we will get a better answer and we will avoid hallucination. You will definitely know that LLMs have hallucination, so sometimes when they don't know the answer of your question, they just make up some answer. So this is a good way to avoid it. Let's also send it. So as you can see, the answer is correct. So as we asked, by this step back technique, it went to find the even numbers between 1 and 10, and then it tried to add them together. Speaking of hallucination, well, of course, there is no guaranteed way to avoid it, but one other good and simple technique is to ask the model to say, I don't know, when it doesn't have the enough information. So adding this simple line can really help to avoid hallucination. For example, I'm gonna ask, when is Nariman's birthday? Say, I don't know if you don't have the information. So you will send it, and it say, I don't know when Nariman's birthday is. Easy peasy. The next one, which is also very famous, is the chain of thought technique. In this technique, you are asking the LLM to follow logical steps, write down its own chain of thought by simply asking it in your prompt, like saying, think step by step. This will again improve the quality of the answer, and it will avoid the hallucination because it encourages the multi-step reasoning. For example, for a simple math problem that LLMs are not necessarily good at solving them, you can use this technique. I'm gonna say, I have 3 apples, I eat one of them, and then I will buy 2 more. How many apples do I have now? And then I'm gonna say, think step by step. Let's see. So you can see that it says, let's break it down step by step. So it is encouraged to use multi-step reasoning. And then says, okay, you have 3 apples, you eat 1 apple, so now you have 2 left. Then you buy 2 more, so now you have 4 apples left. Amazing. So this is chain of thought. It's very simple again, but it's very effective for especially reasoning prompts. I know that recently there is also the tree of thought technique, which encourages the LLM to do some divergent thinking and try different paths for solving the problem. I don't have experience with it, but I encourage you to go and read about it if it's interesting for you. It's going to be used in more like complex problems. And then one technique that I also usually use, I want to show you, is that you can use LLMs to refine your own prompts. So when you want to write a prompt and you are not getting the right answer, or you want to write a system prompt and it is not that detailed, you can ask the LLM itself to give you a good prompt. For example, we had a prompt about giving role, yeah, this one. Let's say I want to create an AI agent that analyzes a stock, and I want this to be my system prompt, but it's not big enough. It's not detailed enough. So I'm gonna ask LLM to refine this prompt, make it more detailed, and use best practices. Something like this. Let's see what we are gonna get. Yeah, you can see that it's gonna give you lots of detail. It's gonna give you lots of more informations. Yeah, perfect. You can see that it's a very good prompt. It has bullet points, encouraging the LLM to use technical analysis, sentiment analysis of like social media about that stock, and then it will categorize the answer into buy, hold, or sell. This is one technique that I use a lot. It is very helpful. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to write a very detailed prompt and I'm not gonna get the best answers. I will just give some information to the LLM and ask for a much better prompt. And then you can refine it a little bit yourself also, like adding some stuff, removing some stuff, and the result will be really good. The last one that I want to talk to you about is, and the last topic that I want to talk to you about is a structured input and output. So as you know, there are some data formats like JSON, XML, or even Markdown, which are good for serialization or just formatting the data. And if you use these kind of data formats in your prompt, it will be classified as a structured input, and it will help LLM to understand your prompt much better. And then you can also ask for a structured output in your prompt. So the LLM would give you the response in JSON format or XML format, which then make the output of the LLM machine readable. So if you are using it in your code, your program can parse the output of the LLM, or let's say you can get a CSV output from your LLM and then upload it in Google Sheets and then play around with it, edit it, or create charts out of it. Let's make a prompt with a structured input. I'm gonna say like product is, let's say, laptop. This will be an XML tag. And then I'm gonna say, the price is like 1,000. And the color is silver. So I'm giving some information in terms of like XML tags. So this will be our structured input. And then I'm gonna ask the LLM to create a description from product, price, and color. So I'm also asking my output should be in XML. So I'm asking for a structured output. So let's send it. So you can see that the output is in XML. There is a description generated and it's surrounded by XML tags. And putting such tags like product, price, color, it helped LLM to understand what does laptop mean, what does 1,000 mean, and what does silver mean. Of course, this is a very simple example. You have more complicated data at your work or day-to-day tasks. So you can leverage the power of formats like JSON, XML, Markdown to both giving input to LLM for better understanding and also get an output in those formats so they can be machine readable. You can use it in the code or integrate it with other tools. So yeah, that was it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope that you will apply these techniques in your day-to-day tasks with LLMs. Please push the like button and also subscribe me for more content like this. See you around.